This podcast is sponsored in part by Coke, AmFirst, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, and Central State Bank.
Hey, it's Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba, Bubba on the lake. Yeah, he's got it going on. Gotta come and check this. Talking people, talking places from Bubba's perspective. This is Bubba, hey, Bubba on the lake. Hey, Bubba, yeah, Bubba on the lake. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Bubba on the Lake. I'm your semi-retired, mostly washed-up host, formerly of the Rick and Bubba Show, Bill Bubba Bussey. And let's get started with our show notes right out of the gate. Welcome to our new podcast. Podcasting is not new. As a matter of fact, Google tells us that there's over 5 million podcasts out there right now. 70 million episodes waiting to be listened to. Well, I guess now there's 5,000,001. Now, don't let the name throw you off. This podcast will not be about just living on the lake or the Gulf of America. There will be some of that for sure, but there will be a lot more too. News, politics, faith issues, nothing is off the table, but fun will always be the goal. I want to think of it as people, places, and perspectives. Now, from time to time, we are planning on taking the show on the road. We're not going to be a travel show, but we are going to get out and introduce you to some exotic locations. They tell me that if I do that, I actually get to write off my vacation. Is that right? I've got some folks here watching who do not want to be identified. Why don't you want to be? Oh, you don't know if it's going to go good. Okay, well, thank you for that vote of confidence here in segment 1. They don't want to be identified because they're not sure if the show is going to be a hit or not. And if it's a dud, they don't want to be a part of it. I love it. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. We will have some celebrities on from time to time if we can scare them up, but we'll also have everyday people. We'll have people on that I think you will enjoy getting to know. People who are just fun to hang out with and people who I have got to know. And I want to share that with all of you. I want you to know, too, that I've got a lot of advice on how to do this podcast. I mean, a lot. And I appreciate the input. I really do. Many of you have said, all we want you to do is new stuff. Don't focus on the old. Move forward. Do your thing, do the new thing, leave the past alone. I understand that. We've also had people who said, oh, now you can tell us behind the scenes what really happened on things on the old show. And you can share the truth that you never could share before. Well, I don't think that we will necessarily do one or the other. I think we're going to have to do both. We're certainly going to move forward. But we can't act like the last 31 years didn't exist. A lot of our experiences happened during that time. A lot of the people we've met, a lot of the things we've done, and a lot of the things we'll refer to happened over those past 31 years. So I don't plan on acting like that didn't happen, but it is not going to be the primary focus. Our plan right now, as it stands, is to do one audio podcast per week. Now, as demand increases, and we hope it does, we'll move to doing 2, or maybe even 3. If demand continues to increase, maybe a few live ones along the way. And if you guys blow it out, I'm all for bringing it back live on TV. I have no problem with that. Now, what I do have a problem with is the cost of a TV studio. Don't know if you've priced one of those lately. A little costly, even in the cut-down version. So we'll really have to grow the show if you want to get to that level. It's really up to you where this podcast goes and how long we end up doing it. I'm willing to do it as long as you guys support it and want me to do it. I will share this with you. I thought about not doing anything. I thought, what have I got to prove? We had 31 years. We've done this. I'm proud of what we accomplished. Looking back of how you guys supported us and what we did. But I really miss the audience. I miss the interacting. I miss hanging out with you guys and getting to do things. And I know it's somewhat limited in the podcast format here, but who knows? Maybe we can do some things a little different that other podcasts don't do. Look, I'm all about having a cookout, okay? And that's part of living on the lake, is you're always fellowship. And sometimes you do it last minute, which I've learned here, which kind of goes against my natural clock. But it could be 4:45 and someone will call up and say, hey, how about a cookout at 5? And I go, okay, I'm in. Usually don't have to think too long about that. So the bottom line is this whole process is going to be relying on you. I miss seeing the creativity and the funny things that you guys come up with. So we're going to start bare bones and grow this together as you, the audience, sees fit. It's really all up to you. And how do you do that? Well, we've got some things listed on the website. You need to subscribe. You need to follow us on social media, punch all those buttons. You need to listen to the podcast. Time spent listening matters. It's all part of the big algorithm of how things are done now in this new world order. Now, when I come back, I want to talk about some of my fears and challenges, I should say, and there's one of them, being able to speak plain, going forward, and introduce you to the most important person on the planet to me as I reintroduce my wife, the lovely Betty Lou. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? That's a bold question, but it's got that irresistible taste to back it up. Well, one thing's for sure. When you've got an irresistible tasty match like zero sugar and 0 calories, something sensational is bound to happen. It's too bad you can't taste with your ears. This Coke Zero Sugar tastes amazing. It's hard to put into words, and that's my job. You'll have to take a taste for yourself. Coke Zero Sugar, best Coke ever.
The perfect checking account does not exist. At least, not at a bank. At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. That's what you'll find at AmFirst. Only available for qualifying members. AmFirst is federally insured by the NCUA.
You're listening to Bubba. Whoa. Bubba on the Lake.
Yes, you are. Welcome back to Bubba on the Lake. It is our very first episode, and we're kind of laying out the roadmap for what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Now, I've got to be honest with you. There are some challenges ahead for me personally. I have always been a number 2 guy on the show. It's like being the color guy on a sports broadcast. And when it comes to sports, some guys are play-by-play guys, some are color guys. Not everyone can do both. And that may be the challenge that lies in front of us for me. I'm not scared to be the number 1 guy. It's just different to what I'm used to doing. Being the number 2 guy was kind of like playing safety on the football team. You had a guy come through the line. He got hit by some linebackers, stood up. They've kind of got him stopped, but they hadn't got him down yet. And you get a running start from safety and you get to plow him. So even from, I'm getting that acted out over here. Even if you do that, it's different when you're punching the buttons, when you're getting everybody in, when you're setting everything up. And who knows? I may not be a number 1 guy. Okay. We may end up with Betty hosting this. Oh, and by the way, we'll have her on here in just a minute. I really hope that we can get this system down so we can scale it up and get her own podcast, because I'm going to tell you, the world needs it. Okay. Y'all are just not ready for Betty Lou, or as we call it, Betty say, what? And I get to hear a full episode every day, sometimes multiple episodes every day, depending on what I'm doing. And I think it's only fair that I share that with the rest of y'all. Now, like I said, we have some people helping us out. They don't want to be identified. And they are on the website understaffed currently in a mask situation. Okay. But we'll tell you more about them as we go. But back to the point, I've always been the number 2 guy. So moving over and being the lead dog and having to punch the buttons and get us in and out and do this and do that, it may not be my cup of tea. I may be a perennial number 2 guy, a color guy, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll play it out. All I do is I ask for your patience. The first couple of episodes will not be especially good. I know that. It's going to take a little time to get the kinks out, to work it out. We'll get it. We'll be working on it if you will be patient with us. And like we have always said, it takes 30 days to put on the weight. So there's a lot going on. We do want to cover some current events and some things like that. And I really hadn't planned on going into a lot of that here on the first episode. But I can't help but mention, hey, how about those first 100 days for Trump? Do you know the journalists that used to cover Biden, and they got to basically be off a lot because he wasn't doing anything or he stayed in Delaware? They have to be totally exhausted. I mean, the first 30 days alone, I'm give out watching Trump on TV. I know they have to be just dead tired because they basically were on a vacation for 4 years. They occasionally had to show up. They occasionally had to do something. Trump is working them to death. I mean, he's like 6 to 10 every night. He's got press conferences. He's addressing Congress. I mean, it's something all the time. They've got to be dead give out. I bet they go back to their hotel room and they pray for the return of Sleepy Joe Biden. What do you think? Also, how about that Department of DOGE? Are they making some cuts or what? It almost became comical listening to what we were spending our hard-earned tax dollars on. Now, I don't know about you. I don't really care about supporting alternate lifestyles in Zambia or somewhere in Africa or somewhere else and everywhere that they're spending their money. But is it not just crazy what they're turning up every day? I mean, you come in and you see another list of things that they have found. And how have they been able to do this? A lot of people are confused. How could they do this? How can they find this? Well, you know, he's doing it with about 9 guys, all in the age of their 20s. Now, Ronald Reagan tried this too. Ronald Reagan, the great Ronald Reagan, sent in his people. They went to the front door, knocked on the door. They said, we're here. We need to look at stuff. We want to make some cuts, some changes. And they got the runaround that the swamp is very good at doing. They didn't make a lot of progress. They made some, but they only got to see what the swamp wanted them to see. I think Elon and the DOGE group came in hot and heavy. He brought in these young guns that were programming experts. Some of these guys that have got Tesla going, got SpaceX going, they're smart guys. They're in their 20s, but they're smart guys. And they went in and tapped into those computers at the root level, and they looked at where those payments were going. Didn't I see Chelsea Clinton had got like 2 payments, one for $10 million and one for $13 million from U.S. aid? For what? Are you kidding me? That is nothing but a political payment. And that's what they've been using it for. How can these people go to Congress and leave Congress richer than they were coming in when they receive, quote unquote, a modest salary? Got to be coming from somewhere. So much of this, and folks, it's going to be on both sides of the aisle, I'm afraid. It's not going to be just a Democrat issue. It's going to be both. And the people who have the most to lose are going to be the people who are going to fight this. So keep an eye on that. It's interesting to see. And, you know, if we just had money galore and we wanted to take on some things, I could see that. Not some of them they're spending it on, trust me. But if we wanted to take on other issues and try to help people out in some other ways, and you know, we're all open to that. We all want to try to take care of everybody. But we can't take care of everybody all the time, all the way. And we just got to make some changes. It's not sustainable. We're 30-something trillion in debt? And I know I hear people all the time say, well, just don't pay it back. We owe it to China. Just give them the international salute and say, get over it. Well, bad news. Only about 28% of our debt is through foreign powers. The largest majority of it is, anybody want to guess? Ourself, our own agencies, Social Security. Do y'all remember the movie Dumb and Dumber? When they went on the spending spree and they had the briefcase full of IOUs? Well, that's a lot what our government looks like. That is a problem. And to make it even worse, it's a double blind Ponzi scheme, okay? We are borrowing from ourselves money that ought to have been in a lockbox to begin with. So it is a mess. If the government was a private citizen, they would go to prison for the way they've handled the money. Trump's trying to straighten it out, but I'm going to tell you, folks, it is big and it is massive and it is deep. And it is going to take an effort like we have never seen before to help straighten this out. And that, I think at the very best, we're only going to make a dent in it. But a little dent is better than no dent, right? So keep an eye on that. I think DOGE is one of the most interesting things going on in our government today. Trump is moving so fast that his opposition's having trouble keeping up with him, which is kind of funny. I guess that goes to say a lot for 20 Diet Cokes a day. All right, when we come back, yep, she's on deck. We're going to talk to her, the lovely Betty Lou, my wife of 36 years this year. Gosh, that sounds like a lot. Bless her heart. She's had to put up with me that long. She'll be back in just a minute. Thank you for being here on Bubba on the Lake.
It's Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake.
You know one thing I love about Buffalo Wild Wings? You can get wings with any of their 26 sauces and dry rubs for takeout and delivery. That's like bringing an entire B-dubs home with you, which you can't do. I tried. I've knocked down so many walls, only to then be told to halt construction because I'm not zoned to be a sports bar. Kind of just looks like a big pergola or something because of the lack of walls. At least these 26 sauces and dry rubs are available to go. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
When you need urgent care, Southern Immediate Care is here for you. Illness doesn't follow a 9-to-5 schedule, so we offer support 7 days a week at convenient locations throughout Birmingham and Northeast Alabama, dedicated to serving all ages from children to adults. Southern Immediate Care offers occupational medicine services, including DOT physicals and testing. At Southern Immediate Care, your health is our top priority. Visit southernimmediatecare.com or call 205-409-2794.
Where's Bubba?
I'll tell you where. He's on the lake.
Yes, he is. He's on the lake. It is Bubba on the Lake. Welcome back. And as promised, we have an on cue. Exactly. This is why most people do not record podcasts at home. We now have a dog fight that's broke out. I mean, it was perfect on cue, too. Did you? I mean, exactly. It was total silence, and then we start, and the dogs go nuts.
What are we doing? I think we have a delivery. I don't know.
I think we should just let the dogs bark for a minute. Do you want to go look? Are they coming to the door?
I'll go look. Hold
So this is the real family life of Bill Bubba Bussey. And when you're too broke to afford a studio, this is what you have to do. You do it at home, and you know the dogs are going to bark at the most inappropriate times. We'll have a debate about editing this out. I say let her ride. Speaking of that, here comes the original Sally Ride. My wife of almost 36 years, which is mind-boggling, the lovely Betty Lou. Betty, how are you?
I'm doing great. Just, refereeing dog fights.
Yeah.
And painting and cleaning and all the good stuff you do here at the lake.
You have been painting today. I noticed you have a little paint in your hair.
Yeah, I've got paint in my hair, on my legs, everywhere else.
Well, that's a good look for you.
Yeah, why not?
A little spotted. But you know what? I have to give you this. You are a good painter. You come from a family of body and fender people who could paint. And I tell you, you do more with a spray can than anybody I've ever seen. What's your secret?
You got to go even. You got to put several coats.
Don't try to do it all at one time.
Yeah, don't let it run.
If
don't
it's
go
running,
on thick.
if you're running, you've done way too.
Yeah,
The first
no
coat.
running.
Matter of fact, and I've learned this from you, the first coat should look like it is a total mess.
Yeah, just kind of.
You just barely
sporadic.
get it wet.
Yeah.
It's kind of to put paint on so the other paint can hang on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not everybody has that patience, especially me.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot of patience, as you know, for 36 years.
Well,
But,
at times.
Yeah.
But thank you. Did you ever think when you said I do, probably close to 38 years ago, when you said you would be my wife, that we would be sitting at the kitchen table doing a podcast?
Really didn't, especially overlooking beautiful Lake Martin. Here we are.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
mean,
You
who
can't
knew?
argue with the view.
No,
I'll
you
say
really
that.
can't. Yeah. We're
And
going to have to get some video to y'all folks. You know what I mean?
and as
It's too
we're
pretty not to.
as we're recording this, it's plug day, which is a big day here at the lake. That's when they start raising the level of the water again. They carry it down in the winter. I don't know, 5, 6 foot. I don't know what it is now. It used to be 10. I think they do 10 every fourth year, so you can work on other things. But maybe they go 7. I forgot what it is. But anyway, most of you that live around a lake, you're familiar with this concept. And everybody gets very excited when the lake water is about to come back up, because that means we're probably only about 2 months away till it's totally full again, or full pool is what they call it.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's waiting for all the restaurants on the water to be open. And here we go on
Here
the
we go.
pontoon.
That's right. So tell us about the podcast. You are going to help us in what ways?
Well, I've not been told, but I'm thinking, I guess you want me to be part of the talent. Is that what you call it?
I
You
would
know?
say that. Yes. Mindless talent in my part.
Well, thank you. Mindless talent. I should be really good at that.
Right.
Love mindless TV. Why not be mindless talent? you
Right,
know?
right.
So-
Well, we want you to be a regular on here, and as we spin this up, hopefully we can scale it up and start your podcast that I know many people have been
yeah.
waiting for. Betty Say What?
Well, Betty Say What? I mean, it didn't even get off the ground because I had no technical backup. Now that you're all fired up to do a podcast, here we go. We may get it going, folks.
And we've got a staff here kind of to help us. I say that loosely. You're also
They may
going
have 4 legs, but other than that.
you're going to be our bookkeeper too, our office manager.
Okay, now that ought to be some entertainment, folks. I know nothing. I was a nurse by trade, right? I don't know anything about accounting. Now, my neighbor over here does, so I'm counting on Beth to help me out. You know what I mean? And in a pinch, our florist friend that uses.
So there you go.
That ought to be some entertainment, folks.
We're going
Betty does accounting, and then right after that, maybe unlearn sports.
Yeah. Well,
know?
you fake sports when we were dating.
Well,
We'll talk
I
more
mean,
about that.
I know
but
a lot more about basketball. It's football that I get confused on. I don't know this tush push and this and that. I don't know what you're talking about.
There you go, folks. It started already. Uncomfortable terminology from Betty right out of the gate. True, but uncomfortable. So you're going to have to learn QuickBooks.
Yes.
Now, thousands of people listening to this operate QuickBooks with their business. So surely we can do it.
Oh, I can pull it off. I mean,
I think
I've
the first
pulled
thing
a lot off in my life. I can figure that out. You know?
you have. Okay, and I'll leave that for later. But first question, accounting wise, are we going to do accrual or cash system? Do you know? Okay, well, we'll have
You're
to
the
decide that.
mastermind of that. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to decide
I
that.
don't know.
We'll get with our
Say
crack
cash,
accountant.
baby, cash.
Cash, baby, cash. So, are you looking forward to this? Are you dreading it?
Are you talking about looking forward to QuickBooks?
The podcast.
Oh, the podcast.
I know you're
yes.
dreading QuickBooks.
Yeah,
That's
I
not-
don't know about QuickBooks because I mean, I'll learn it. I mean, I can learn things. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's going to cut into too much of your already very rigorous schedule that you have every day?
Okay, y'all. Listen, I have Tabata on Monday, Wednesday at 8:30,
What is that?
and it's an exercise class.
I thought that was something
And
you
then
wore
after
on your
that, I'm
head when it was
free.
cold.
No, that's a toboggan.
Oh. I thought you were making toboggans.
No, we got
What's it
Tabata.
called?
Tabata. It's like
Tabata?
an intermittent. What do you call it? HIIT, heart intermittent, whatever.
Boy, it sounds fun.
So I do
Are
that.
biscuits involved?
No
Okay.
biscuits. But anyway, and then Wednesday's a Bible study.
That's good.
So
We all
you know,
need that.
So I've got 3 days there that just in the mornings, I can't be doing stuff. But in a pinch, if something were to come up, I guess I can.
Well, we don't want to cut into your time of watching Madlock and
Now
some
I
of your
have not.
Bewitched and
I don't get to watch Bewitched anymore since we moved here. For the record, no Bewitched since we moved,
and I hate that. I
I
was
do too.
Elizabeth
We can't get
Montgomery
that
fan
channel.
growing up.
and I miss it. But anyway, other than that, and leave it to Beaver. I don't get to see either one of them. Bill's been giving me the business like they used to say. Leave it to Beaver.
What have I been giving you the business on?
I don't know. I told you that yesterday. How you giving me the business?
Well, that could lead to a whole new episode here
Lord
on
help.
Bubba on the Lake. Bubba on the Lake at night.
Oh, I don't think anybody wants to hear that. Lordy.
Well, we've already discussed a few of those issues. We'll wade into those carefully as we move along, knowing that the kids are listening and in a full panic right now. But tell everybody about our kids, because a lot of people, this is the first time they've ever heard you. So, now, granted, there's going to be a lot from the Rick and Bubba days. This may be the first time some people have ever heard the lovely Betty Lou.
Well, bless your heart. Yeah. So, all right, I have Hunter. Hunter was born in 1998, so he would be about 27 years old. He just turned 27. And we have Caitlin, and she was born in 99. And she is our youngest, and
Go
hard
ahead.
to
Go ahead.
Hunter is very even keel, a lot like Bill, I would say, his personality. And Caitlin has a lot of both of us. She's very vivacious. I call her my spirited child.
Yes, I think
I
spirited
love-
child would be the correct
I
way to
love
phrase
both
it.
of them dearly.
Yes.
They're very different people, though. So we'll have them on. You'll get to know them as well. I'm sure, for sure, they'll want to be a part of all this and probably have their own stories to tell.
Yeah, and I hope they do their own podcast too. Why not? Everybody in America has one. We're
Well,
kind of
yeah,
behind.
Why not? Yeah, I know. I told you, Betty, say what? We should have been doing that.
Well, you're going to get your chance.
Yeah.
We're going to
Somebody's
scale this
already-
baby up when we get it right.
Somebody's out here in a pontoon dragging a child on a tube already.
Well, it is
It's gotta
sunny.
be cold.
Yeah, it is cold. We were going to be in the outdoor studio, which is also known as the front porch.
Or the back porch.
And the back porch. And I went out there, and it was a little chilly. So I thought, well,
a little windy today.
we don't want to start Bubba on the Lake that way. So I came back into our kitchen table.
Yep.
And, of course, we're going to have a name for this studio. We're going to be telling you about that coming up very soon. And hopefully all of that will come around and work out. But, Betty, we're excited. Thank you not only for being on the podcast, but being my wife of almost 4 decades now. Isn't that incredible?
It's really incredible. It really is.
When you start thinking about it.
It really is. I mean, who knew,
Well,
Here I was sitting in Pleasant Valley, had no idea,
Well, you know, and we've told the story how we met. We'll have to tell that again because you really had a better vision of that than I did at the time.
Yeah.
And then for some odd reason, you tried to break up with me, and I wouldn't let you. But we'll go into that more
and then
later.
you started moving a little too fast too soon,
No,
when
so-
it really came down to it. As you get right down to it, it's somebody that I know very well.
Yes,
used
that
to
would be
say.
your dad.
So
The
when
great
you get
B.J.
right
Walker.
down to it.
That was meeting your dad was an experience. I don't know that
yeah.
it doesn't require its
We
own
need
show.
to just save that. Yeah, this whole meeting and all that for a whole show.
There's
you know?
plenty to talk about. Well, tell me
Yes.
this, and we're getting up against the break here a little bit. So, what would Betty say? What would be the topics you would cover?
I think kind of just, a show about nothing that's just funny. You know what I mean? A lot
Well,
of
we've
people,
already got one of those.
I know,
Yeah.
but like the women's version.
Oh,
of that.
okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? We got to have our
Oh.
time. It may
So it would be pretty in pink.
Yeah, it might be our favorite makeup one day, or
Yeah.
or what we
like
find on Amazon that we love to buy, or it might be Netflix shows, or what we like. I don't know.
See, I
Just
think those are great ideas.
it'll just be a show about what Betty likes.
I like that.
And what I say about stuff.
I like that. If we get one of our talented producers to work on it for nothing, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll be good.
and-
It's all going to work out, folks.
Hunter would, he loves sports.
He does. He should actually be a sports broadcaster, in my mind.
And
At least for basketball, maybe, or something. I don't know.
He'll get a chance to do some of that here. I think he ought to do his own show. We're going to try, or we talked about doing a tailgate show in the fall for football.
That'd be
And
fun.
the name of that is the Tailgate Show.
Yeah.
And it is the people who are tailgating so early, the only people that hear them are the other tailgaters because they're not ready for prime time.
Right.
See, that's kind of the concept. Do you like that idea?
So I could be the tailgate person, because I can come in and say my
Well, I
spiel.
didn't think you wanted to do sport.
Well, I don't. But, I'm trying to learn sports. So
Right. And that's
and
interesting.
as I've learned, it'll be entertaining, I feel like,
I'll say this. You did a good job faking it till we got married.
Oh, good Lord.
I mean,
I was a cheerleader, y'all, but I had to watch everybody else to see if they were going defense or something to know what cheers to do. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
So I kind of read the crowd. I mean, you got to credit a high school girl for, knowing to do that anyway. I mean, to fake that, to be able to know what cheers to do. You know what I mean?
well, I know when we started dating, we went to a few football games, and I thought, well, will this be fun, or is this going to be like difficult for her because she doesn't really like
oh,
football?
no, I'm all about the social aspect of football.
You
know.
threw in there a few things, about it was third down, and you thought a draw play would work good here or
Oh,
something.
I
and
don't know about that.
And I thought, wow, she really knows football.
No, I never did that. You must have heard what you wanted to hear, or somebody next to us said that, and I may have just repeated it. Yeah, that'd work, or something. I don't know. I think you're.
Well, you're not the only female to fake football. Don't
well,
worry.
I think you were blinded.
A lot of
by-
us men have faked being able to cook.
Well, you did not, folks. He'll burn a hot dog in the microwave.
I
mean,
like them dark.
Bless his heart. I mean, he cooked a steak last night on the stove for the first time since we've been married, and for how long? 36 years.
Yeah, they're
I
about.
thought the house was on fire. I come in here and there was grease going everywhere. It was bad.
It didn't flame up.
No, it did not flame up.
And it was
But
too
thank
cold. We weren't
goodness.
going to cook it outside.
We
We'd been
were.
thawing it for like a week.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that long. But anyway, they were not bad, though.
No,
it's
it was
hard to
fine.
mess up that good cut of steak.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I
was.
mean?
That was
So
good.
it was pretty good.
So there you have it, folks. Betty Lou Bussey, her first appearance on Bubba on the Lake. Won't be the last, Lord willing. Betty, thank you for putting up with me for all these years, and thank you for working through what was a very difficult year last year, and what
Oh, yeah.
looks forward to being a very interesting year this year.
Yes. Yes. I wonder, are we ever going to do a show about last year? That would.
You know,
That's a pretty
we'll get a lot of we've had a lot of questions about that. I think time and place is
Yeah.
important there,
I think so.
and we'll get back to all
Probably
that
best
later.
you discuss that as well as how the female mother hen issue
Yeah.
kind of kicks in.
Yeah, well, I couldn't let you get around anybody with sharp instruments, that's for sure. So anyway, there you have it, Betty. Her first appearance on the show. Betty, thank you for being here, and we will
thank you for
talk to you
having me.
more. And you can always email Betty through me till we get her own email set up. So again, thank you, dear. Glad you're here. And you folks are listening to Bubba on the Lake. We'll be right back.
Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? That's a bold question, but it's got that irresistible taste to back it up. Well, one thing's for sure. When you've got an irresistible tasty match like zero sugar and 0 calories, something sensational is bound to happen. It's too bad you can't taste with your ears. This Coke Zero Sugar tastes amazing. It's hard to put into words, and that's my job. You'll have to take a taste for yourself. Coke Zero Sugar, best Coke ever.
When you need urgent care, Southern Immediate Care is here for you. Illness doesn't follow a 9-to-5 schedule, so we offer support 7 days a week at convenient locations throughout Birmingham and Northeast Alabama, dedicated to serving all ages from children to adults. Southern Immediate Care offers occupational medicine services, including DOT physicals and testing. At Southern Immediate Care, your health is our top priority. Visit southernimmediatecare.com or call 205-409-2794.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bubba on the Lake. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this first episode. It's a little short, but we wanted to get it out there. We wanted to tell you what we're doing. We wanted to introduce you to the lovely Betty Lou. I'm also going to reintroduce you to my kids and a lot of other things in the coming episode. So be patient with us. I hope this thing doesn't crash and burn. But we'll work on it. We'll try to keep getting better. It's going to take a little time, but we just appreciate your patience. And as I said earlier, we need your support. We need you to go on there and like, subscribe, follow us on social media, listen to the podcast, because all that figures into the algorithms about how they rate and how they rank these things, and that's going to determine advertisers, and that's going to determine how much money we've got to do different things and play with doing the show. But I thank you again for the opportunity to be here. I want to take just a minute and thank all of you for the emails, the text, the words of encouragement that you have given me personally since we ended the Rick and Bubba show. That was, it was bittersweet, to say the least, after 31 years of doing something that I love so much. And for the way that it all ended, and a little bit before its time, in my opinion. So it was tough, and it was a rough year last year for me personally and my family. But we've made it through it, thanks to you. And I love an encouraging word. I try to be encouraging to people because I know how important an encouraging word can be to somebody. Just a quick text, just a pat on the back, just quick comment when you're out at dinner or something. I welcome those. I cherish those. I appreciate the stories. We've read some emails that will just absolutely tear you up. And, when we were sitting there doing the radio show, we're having fun, we're cutting up, and then when you read these emails about so many things that you folks have gone through in life, and it's just about life. I mean, we deal with sickness, we deal with death, we deal with all of that, and how the show played such a big part in your life. I mean, it's just, I get teary-eyed. I mean, I don't want to take the squalling here on the first podcast, but it was just incredible. And I appreciate that, and I thank you, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this podcast. Now, keep in mind, I know this podcast will never replace the Rick and Bubba show, because it ain't Rick and Bubba. But it is the New World Order. It is the place that we're at, and we will continue to move forward with your blessings. So keep those emails coming. We will answer some of those on the podcast here, Bubba at Bubba on the Lake. And we will look over those, and you may hear one read on the air at any time. Again, I want to thank you. We're going to wrap it up right here for episode 1. Thank you for being here, and I hope it is the first of many, many more to come. Thank you all. Please subscribe, follow, make this thing go. We'll do whatever you guys want us to do at the level you guys want us to do it. Thank you very much, and talk to you later next time we sail into port.
You're listening to Bubba on the Lake.
Hit me bad.
A production of Intergalactic Pants and Tees.
All rights reserved.
This podcast is sponsored in part by Coke, AmFirst, Buffalo Wild Wings, Southern Immediate Care, and Central State Bank.
You know one thing I love about Buffalo Wild Wings? You can get wings with any of their 26 sauces and dry rubs for takeout and delivery. That's like bringing an entire B-dubs home with you, which you can't do. I tried. I've knocked down so many walls, only to then be told to halt construction because I'm not zoned to be a sports bar. Kinda just looks like a big pergola or something because of the lack of walls. At least these 26 sauces and dry rubs are available to go. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
The perfect checking account does not exist. At least not at a bank. At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. That's what you'll find at AmFirst. Only available for qualifying members. AmFirst is federally insured by the NCUA.
Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? That's a bold question, but it's got that irresistible taste to back it up. Well, one thing's for sure. When you've got an irresistible tasty match like zero sugar and 0 calories, something sensational is bound to happen. It's too bad you can't taste with your ears. This Coke Zero Sugar tastes amazing. It's hard to put into words, and that's my job. You'll have to take a taste for yourself. Coke Zero Sugar, best Coke ever.